What is going on, everyone? Today is May 16th, 2024. You're tuned into the Invested in Hockey podcast. My name is Anthony Santini. Today, I'm joined with
Eric Wilson.
on another episode of what's been an amazing NHL playoff so far. We capped off last week with a crazy ending to what was the first round. We're talking second round this week, and dude, I can't wait to get into it. We got the Rangers and the Hurricanes game going on right now. I don't want to look, but it's in my peripheral, so I'll update you with what's going on there. But dude, what have you been up to this week? What's the week look like? And what are you kind of up to this long weekend?
Yeah, it's nice to be back on the pod. It feels, I mean, it's one of our only Thursday ones. It feels like the week's just flown by. Bit of stress. It's been good getting back into the work mode for the summer work days, but other than that, I'm not really like doing anything for the long weekend. Just kind of hanging in here, watching my hockey, really cheering on my Bruins tomorrow, which will be game 6. So just kind of the classic stuff. And yeah, how about you?
I mean, yeah, like I got a little bit of work to do tomorrow, Friday, and then Saturday we're doing a video actually for the Centennial Cup. Cool enough. A junior A tournament that TSN is doing for the championship
Yeah.
game. So I'll be doing the video for that. That will be Saturday morning. Pretty sweet. I'll take a look at some emails tomorrow night to really work on the remainder of that.
Yeah.
But we'll keep it focused on NHL playoffs, the long weekend that's upcoming. I know we got that card show on Monday in Hamilton. If any of you card collectors will be there, make sure you come by, shoot us a message, and even come by and say what's up. I mean, let's have a conversation, right? It's NHL playoffs. It's a long weekend. It should be chill and very exciting.
Oh yeah.
And
Always hockey to talk. I will say one thing about that Centennial Cup. I didn't know you were covering it. It is pretty cool because it's at 16 Mile, which is in Oakville, so it's pretty close to us, even though it's a Canada wide thing. So I did watch a little bit of highlights about that. I'm sure you're surprised to hear that, but anyways, it is pretty cool to know it's nearby.
yeah, I mean, I heard it's in Oakville. I haven't watched too many of the games. I saw actually one of my old buddies, Eric Bonsteel, plays for I think the Oakville Blades. I don't know if you remember him from the Tigers.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
called up a couple times. He went to Marcy's. Good right shot defenseman. I was pleasantly surprised to see that he's still playing junior A. So maybe I'll reach out to him. We'll have a good conversation with him maybe in the next coming weeks or months if he wants to talk Centennial Cup. Hopefully they find some success wherever they might be. But without further ado, let's talk
Yeah.
about the NHL playoffs. And I know we want to start with the East and this Rangers Carolina game going on right now, but let's take it to the West. Let's talk about one of the best series that we've seen, and that's going to be the Oilers and Vancouver Canucks. And they are playing game 5 tonight. And I'm going to say one of the best series because of all the shenanigans, everything off the ice, everything on the ice, McDavid getting cross checked, all that. I'm gonna say that last night, the Dallas and Colorado game was probably the most talented hockey game I've seen in a long while. We saw Makar grab 2 goals, and that, I mean, without a doubt, that's been one of the most electric playoff series I've watched in recent memory. But just looking at that Edmonton Vancouver series, dude, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. The fans are into it. Twitter, Instagram, people are going nuts in the streets. TikTok, I'm seeing everyone talking about this series. What do you think about it, dude? It's ridiculous right now.
Yeah, I will say I'll give you credit there. It feels closer to home, which obviously it is. And it is pretty awesome to see that it's 2-2 going into this 10 p.m. game tonight. The topic of discussion in the last 48 hours has been Calvin Makar and Stuart Skinner, and we just heard today that Pickard's going to play game 5, which pretty much it'll stay the headline for the game. I promise we're probably going to hear goaltender talk for half half of the things the commentators say are probably going to be related to goaltending, just because it's the center of attention, right? We see Vancouver's goalie situation change dramatically, and then now Edmonton's goalie situation pretty much did the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean the conversation, the entire series, even coming from the Oilers or the Vancouver Canucks side, has been goaltenders because it doesn't feel like they either team has had a steady goaltender for the last round, if you want to call it. I mean, obviously Demko goes down in round 1. That makes Casey DeSmith go in net, and he kind of has everything on his shoulders, gets injured, can't play, and then out of nowhere, AHL goaltender Silovs is in net, and not only is he in net, but he's playing well. So right now, the Oilers definitely have a problem in net. I was listening to the 32 Thoughts of podcast on my way to work yesterday, and Elliot Friedman even mentioned, don't be afraid or don't be surprised if you hear some rumblings of Jack Campbell coming up. Like, dude, could you just imagine game 7? No Pickard. They don't go Pickard. They don't go Skinner. And out of nowhere, Jack Campbell gets called up because there's no salary cap. Nothing would happen with regarding that.
Yeah, for me, that would just be a total like I don't even know. That would be like a bit of a um I don't want to say like discredit, but that would spark a lot of like emotions. And I don't know what would be good, what would be bad, but like I feel like that'd be just disrespectful for like a goalie environment because what they did to Campbell was pretty much say like we're paying you all this money, but you're not good, so we're gonna send you down. And Skinner's gonna be our guy for the entire season. Like I'm sure they said don't expect to come back, and I don't think he expected to, but that's possible. It completely is, you know?
I mean, just imagine that. Like, they basically say to him middle of the season, or it was even probably like what, within 25 games of the
Yeah,
start. Like, look, you're not our guy anymore. We're sending you down. We're gonna go with Stewie and whatever that might mean for you and him. And we're riding the wave. We're gonna go with it, and you could kind of figure it out, whatever's going on in the AHL, and then out of nowhere in game 6, game 7, whenever they might need him the most to save their season, they're what, gonna call him up and expect them to play hero?
yeah.
Imagine a situation where Jack Campbell gets called up for game 6. Oilers are down 3-2 in the series, and he lets in 4 in the first period. Like, just imagine 4 goals on 10 shots after
Oof.
playing the whole season in the AHL. And the only reason why I want to bring this conversation up is because I find Elliot Friedman extremely reputable. He's one of the most reputable
Yeah.
podcasters, reporters, sports broadcasters in the business. Major respect to him, and I just feel like anything that he does bring up has intent to it and lots of facts behind it. So for him to say that Jack Campbell has an opportunity to come up and play, or don't be surprised if you hear rumblings of Jack Campbell coming up, I feel like that holds some significant value to fans.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting. Imagine they move on because then that brings a whole case of like, oh, we got to travel. Let's confirm who we're traveling with for 2 games, right? Like that. Goaltending is such a tough topic because it's the most difficult position in hockey, but you know, it's also the easiest position to notice out there. So it's like, you know, anything that happens, the goalie's usually involved. If not the other goalie is, right?
Yeah, seriously. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's been a good series overall. I'm gonna see what happens tonight. I don't know if you saw that video too. Dude, what's all this hype with like Shaq Hyman? I saw like the joke happened a little bit, and the Rangers just scored, so it's 5-3. Actually, maybe you could see like the reflection. Look at
And
that.
oh, that's tough. I'm gonna have to let it just ride out, and we'll. I guess we'll just see the end of the game there. I'm. I don't want to keep. I want to keep my mind off it for now. So
I mean, I mean that's definitely tough. We'll keep going on with what we were talking about. So Shaq Hyman, I don't get what this joke is. I guess it started because of TNT and Paul Bissonnette and his relation to Shaq or something
mm,
like that. Maybe Zach and Shaq having a
yeah,
rhyme. But there was like some cool videos I'll have to send you and show you because they did
yeah.
like they signed jersey swaps. They even made a stick tall enough that would fit
Wow.
Shaq. They pretty much cut 2 sticks in half, put it together using an extension, and it was on the broadcast and everything. So that's kind
Jeez.
of a little bit of a surprise to see that little NBA and NHL mix. But
Yep. Yep.
yeah, Zach Hyman did show up in a Shaquille O'Neal jersey for tonight's game.
Wow. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what he can do. That's. I'm glad you told me that because I would not have had. Wouldn't have had a clue. I know the big NBA playoffs are going on, and there's always other sports kind of having that connection to hockey. So that's pretty cool. I mean, in terms of this game tonight, I going up 3-2 for either team is gonna really I don't even know, but I think it's a big advantage being up 3-2, especially if you're gonna go home for game 6. But the big X factor for me tonight would be Elias Pettersson. I think it is for any Canucks. Anyone who has the Canucks winning would probably say the same.
I mean, it's been a tough series for Elias Pettersson. Like, dude, even the end of the season was tough for him, the start of the playoffs, and he really hasn't had that same success, that same offensive presence that was shown in the middle of the season. I mean, remember mid-season, game 40 to game 60, even before like the first
Yeah.
25 games of the season, how electric he was, and
Yeah.
he isn't showing up, and it took Rick Tocchet almost 2.5 rounds to call out, I think I believe he said 5 to 6 players on his team. I mean, for
Yeah,
him to say 5 to 6, I'd probably cut that in half because he's gonna add that little bumper and say,
yeah,
"Oh, let's add 5 to 6 so
yeah.
people don't think that I'm talking exclusively about Pedersen." But with massive binoculars looking right at Elias Pedersen, he really needs to step up here for game 5.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I guess no matter what happens, I'm every single night there's something good to watch. Like last night's Dallas game against Colorado was just one where like my eyes were on the TV the whole time. I mean, especially after that first period when we saw the buzzer beater. I don't know if you were watching that, but to transition to another series that just really had me not sure who was going to win the game. I don't know what your thoughts are there.
I mean, it was one of those series where Dallas, Colorado, you're looking at it from the beginning and you kind of take a step back and you say either of these teams could win the Stanley Cup. One of them's going home, and one of them's probably going to play who I thought was going to be the Rangers. The Rangers take a step, as we could see, but I've kind of had that mindset for so long. Like it's either going to be Dallas or it's going to be Colorado coming out of the West. Even though Vancouver's been good, Oilers have been good. I haven't really been too worried about if one of these teams could even make it past the second round, but it looks like one of Dallas or Colorado will be stepping out of the NHL playoffs within the next 7 days. So for me, this series has been electric. I'm happy to watch another game, I believe Saturday night, right?
Yeah, I couldn't. No, I think it'd be tomorrow.
Would it be Friday night?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow because they're behind, right? They're 2-2, so I think they've got to speed their series up.
Yeah, so Friday night, Saturday night, whatever it might be. I mean, it can't be disappointing to watch Cale Makar
Yeah,
and Heiskanen go at each other. I believe they're tied in points right now, or Cale Makar grabbed 2 or 3 points on Heiskanen last night.
yeah, something like that. Either way, the West, like you said, it's a great battle there. I originally predicted one of those two teams to be out of the West rather than Edmonton or Vancouver, so I'm glad we're on the same page there. But
Yeah.
um, I guess to move to a totally different environment in the Bruins and Panthers series, we watched the game together in Game 5, and um, the Bruins stay alive, and now it's like they're in Florida tomorrow night, correct? Sorry, they're back in Boston. So what? It's just a totally new series after one game, right?
Yeah, it's a totally new series because 2 games ago, even a game ago, the start of last game, we were looking at the Bruins like they were in a tough spot. Obviously, we personally were feeling confident because we know what the Bruins are capable and they executed their plan last game. I mean, they looked good, they looked aggressive, they played
Yeah,
offensively well. And without Marchand, I thought that was going to be the biggest
yeah,
we want to call blip or hinder to their lineup, but it looks like
yeah.
they haven't missed a beat and he's even looked confident off the ice. There was a weird video and I don't know if I sent it to you. I mean, there's all
Oh,
kinds of things I saw. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like Marchand in the locker room giving
yeah.
everyone high fives. Did you see it?
Well, actually, I know, but there was another one you probably saw too. Tell me about this high five one though. What
So
happened
this
there?
he was like in the room. It was either pregame, postgame, and
Yeah,
not wearing any equipment or anything, wearing a suit or workout gear, probably stretching out or doing some
yeah,
rehabilitation for his body, head, whatever it might be. And he's like jumping up. They're giving him hugs, giving him a high five. And I'm like, is he not hurt? Is the case not to be made that he has a concussion right now? Wouldn't you think that he'd be in his house, sleeping, resting, watching the game, relaxing, whatever it might be?
yeah,
Like, I don't understand if you're not hurt, why are you not in the lineup? Are you hurt? What? That's where I'm
yeah,
confused. And obviously, we're not going to get those answers because it is the NHL playoffs. But that was a video, and that's just me. I could only imagine the Florida Panthers seeing that and saying, like, "Is this guy okay? Like, what did we
yeah.
just?"
They got their own stuff to deal with. I'm sure it's been, a few of the individuals are probably thinking, is he gonna play? Is he not gonna play? But that series just like goes on, and it's the video that I saw was Marshy explaining to the media how he was feeling, and he honestly he took a lot of accountability. He said, "Listen, I'm usually the guy in the other position, and I know how it feels to sometimes land a shot on a guy where you didn't mean to or intend to do what you did, but." It happens. It's hockey. He pretty much said like, "You're not a bad person because of one thing that happens." You know what I mean? And they pretty much are asking about Bennett specifically. So he had a good answer there, and he kind of kept wrapping around his point. But it was kind of interesting because the media's just been like all over the playoffs, man. It's been a little much for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it sucks when the media takes over the playoffs. And like we said, that's why we want to tee off with the Oilers and Vancouver series because you see on Twitter everyone going wild
Yeah.
for this series, man. And almost you just want to say, let these guys play hockey. It's something that we haven't seen as much,
Yeah.
excuse me, in the Dallas and Colorado series, and that's maybe why I enjoy it a little bit more. But when you
Yeah.
go on social media, and I saw a video today of Elias Pettersson riding a scooter or a video or a photo, I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
it, and the guy said like a caption like, "Oh, why is he out right now? He should be training or stretching for the game."
Oh,
And I'm just thinking, like, man, it's a 2 month grind for these players. They have to deal with the
yeah.
media, the game, all this stuff, and then this guy has to go out of his way to take a picture of Pedersen on the scooter, post it, obviously for clout, put him in a situation where what in the middle of the day when he's probably trying to get his mind off the game, he's pressuring him through social media to
Yeah.
pair better because he's not playing well. I
Yeah.
don't know, man.
That stuff's ridiculous. Again, it's like, dude, some people just don't get it. I feel like no matter what you reply to that with, or if you engage with it on Twitter or whatever it is, it almost like doesn't get to the person. They just don't get it. They think like that them stemming an argument is useful or helpful. And so I get rattled sometimes looking at that, but I've been pretty good. I've been staying off Twitter. I've been looking at a lot of more graphics sort of thing where I'm seeing statistics. I'm seeing some things about teams and their playoff performances or stats about a guy like Swayman or a guy like Ekblad, things like that where you focus on hockey or you don't. Like I don't need to focus on the in between, you know?
Yeah, no, dude, it's so true. Like, focus on the game. And I don't know if you used to watch playoff basketball, but LeBron James used to do his 0 dark 30, where he kind of goes offline, turns off all social medias during the playoffs. And I feel like more players should look into that. Like, especially high profile players like Pedersen, Quinn Hughes, Demko,
Yeah,
even looking at the East side, like players like Panarin, players like
yeah,
um whoever you want to call Kachuk, Marchand, players that could be, you know, subject to people online, their thoughts,
yeah.
like turn off social media, get off your phone, get off the internet, don't read the web page because it's a 2 month grind. Everyone's after one goal. And if you let your focus veer off, you're not even going to come close.
Yeah, that's something for them to consider. I wonder, I know they have coaches and, psychologists and a lot of those things in the system slash organization that probably, have a talk with the team, but at the end of the day, you can't force your players to do anything like that, right? So it's got to be a choice of theirs. And if they take it upon themselves, I think that's a pretty high discipline thing to do, you know?
Oh, for sure, dude. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
But without further ado, I know you want to get into the Rangers series. That looks like it just ended. So I want your initial thoughts because if we date back to, I kind of want to call it what, November? No, that might have been early. Maybe late December or it was second semester. I'm not exactly sure. Anywhere between November and January, you had the pretty early and bold prediction to come out and say that the Carolina Hurricanes were gonna win the Stanley Cup. That was your pick. I mean, we're 10 minutes out of them getting eliminated from the playoffs in the second round against without a doubt, a very talented New York Rangers team. So I kind of want to let you have the floor here and blurt out your initial thoughts with them being eliminated 4-2 in the second round.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the final in this game was 5-3. Yeah.
Yes, 5-3.
Okay, initial thoughts. I mean, appreciate you giving me the floor. I'll be brutally honest that I had this Stanley Cup pick in my mind for probably 2, 3 months before I said it. I know I said it, call it late January, but again, I was thinking this, I want to say since early mid-November, and it was like one of those things where you just think about it, and then as the season went on, I was gonna stick to it unless something major happened. Like I don't know. They obviously made major moves, which help me stick to it, but
To their benefit, I believe, like major moves to their benefit, like Kuznetsov, Gensel,
yeah,
those are big moves that definitely help them. And Frederick
yeah,
Anderson coming back playing well that last 5 games. I think it
yeah,
went 5.
exactly, right? So my initial thoughts are I'm a bit of shock here. I think I believed them till the last minute. When they were down through, I was like, you know what? They haven't even. they've only played, call it 9 playoff games. Like what's the deal here? Like they they've picked up the pace. They look good as far as what I've seen, but I think that when you play a team so much, and they've played the Rangers so much, like whether that's in the regular season, it's been a while since they played them in the playoffs, but divisional rivals really can get to you. And I think the Rangers just like took it to them. And again, when you have a lead in the series, you have the upper hand, and like it's unfortunate, but I think this was the best Canes team that like we were gonna see. I'm afraid now of what's gonna happen because I think there was so many underrated pieces to that team. One being Brent Burns, who I think would be so useful to any hockey club. Um, Another piece being their depth in that Drury line that they had going. I think that's a big reason they really dropped off in the playoffs there. The Drury, Fast, and Nation line, Steven Nesson line. Um, in terms of those star power and star players, I think I don't want to say I'm disappointed in a Sebastian Aho, but it sucks to see the Canes haven't really done too much, and he's been in the league as long as a guy like Austin Matthews has. A lot of those guys. He's been in the league for almost 10 years, about 10 years, and it's sad to see that they couldn't get past the Rangers when I think this was their best chance, and it's sad. I'm definitely a little sad, especially because it was my pick. So yeah,
I mean, yeah, like you said, I like how you kind of capped it off and said it's disappointing because this was, would you say, their chance or their opportunity. And we
yeah,
looked at the Leafs last year where we thought that was going to be their chance in the East. And looking at Carolina this year, they ran into a Rangers team that has steamrolled everyone in the past, what, 30 games. They're good.
yeah,
Shesterkin has caught fire after what we thought started off as a disappointing season. Like you said, they made a ton of changes.
yeah,
And if they ran into a team like, I know Boston is down in the series right now, they're still battling to come back. But let's say Florida advances and they play a beat up Florida in the conference finals that, has had a long, call it year and a half
oh
from
yeah,
going to the finals last year, coming to the conference finals
yeah,
again this season. I mean, if you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan, you have to be happy with how the season turned out in a way that management looked at it, made changes
yeah,
accordingly, and kind of said, okay, we're going all in. You look
yeah,
at the future that they have right now, young players that played well, Jury, Jarvis, Aho,
yeah.
maybe the departure of Brett Burns coming. I believe he's what, 41 years old or
Oh, I think he's
42?
like, yeah, 40 maybe. Oh man, oh man.
I think so. So this could be the end of his career. I don't know what his his contract situation is right
Yeah,
now with the team, but it's going to get really interesting for them in the offseason,
yeah,
considering
yeah.
their number one player, if we want to call him that, Jake Gensel, is up for free agency.
Again, it's crazy to think about because that Carolina team where they had Jake Gensler, who was hot all playoffs, he played great. Things could have looked different. What if Pittsburgh was in the playoffs? What if it was a Pittsburgh Rangers matchup and we were talking about Gensel on Pittsburgh? Like, there's so many things to say. You mentioned Seth Jarvis, and I'll build on that and say that he was terrific. Probably the best, not the best, but definitely a top five second year player because this was his second full season, and he really took it to everybody. What and whether or not he played with good players, I know he was playing alongside Aho a lot, but he showed everyone what he was about. Stood on business. I'm sure Brendan Moore's really proud of that core. You did see some pieces that I would say are very disappointing. I don't want to get too critical, but I think if I was to say my biggest mistake I see in the Canes was adding Dmitry Orlov and signing him to that $8 million deal, call it 7.5, like absolutely horrendous. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. And it's just like sad now to see again, you have one less spot up for grabs on defense there. Like, and that's the thing is now you got to sign all these guys. You don't have all the money in the world because you have the guys locked up like Orlov who really weren't part of that core. And that's what makes me sad is I think you're way better off keeping a guy who's been in the organization for a while. Now you have a goalie situation where that's something to address another day. But I will say I'm a little disappointed in the uh the idea of not even starting Kachekov at all. Like he really played
I
well
think he
for the
did start.
first.
I think he did start one game. Or were you talking about this game? I got you were talking
Like
about this
in
game,
the
right?
playoffs, did he or no?
No, he played, yeah. I think he
Okay.
played I think he played one game though, so I understand
Okay.
where you're coming from. And then he lost. I think it was like game three.
Okay.
I
That
think he played game three. Actually, what it was, he played game three,
yeah.
lost, and it was apparently for Frederick Anderson to rest. So I
Mm,
think they played like on the Thursday and then Freddie played on the Saturday, if I remember.
that day does change things. I will say I didn't know that, but that does give me a little bit of happiness that knowing that he started because he played well for them the first 55, 60 games of the season. Like they don't have a backup when Freddie's hurt. It's like Kochetkov and no one else really, right? So anyways, they had a great season, and although my cup pick wasn't right, we'll have to be better next season, right, Sans?
I mean, even like you mentioned too, like giving Orlov, and I looked it up. I believe it was a 2-year deal, 7.75 for a guy that didn't play first power play. He didn't play second power play. What was he
Yeah.
doing in the lineup making all that money? I mean, as a defenseman. So that's definitely going to eat up a lot of your cap for the next couple of years and whatever could be Jake Ensel's contract. I mean, this is why at the trade deadline, when we were having those conversations on the pod about, Carolina not being a team that buys rentals, trades for rentals, and they go
Yeah.
switch it up this year, pick up Gensel, the biggest free agent slash trade bait on the market when it was the time. And
Mhm.
it looks like it didn't work out for them.
Yeah, I'll just say that truly, true opinion, that team is would have been like the scariest East team to play against, in my opinion. And and even after they lost, I still will stick to it. I think that the Rangers are young and although they made the conference finals, I think the Canes are more experienced. I would have been more scary to play against the Canes. So you know what? Good on the Rangers. They've got an insane future and another conference finals appearance. So we'll see what the final four is going to look like. In my happiness sense, I'd love to see a Bruins Rangers and then Dallas Vancouver series. I don't know what your final four would be. What sense?
I mean, yeah, let's wrap it up with this. I'll say that, I mean, obviously we got the Rangers coming in. I'm gonna say Rangers, Bruins, and I'm gonna go Colorado, Vancouver, winning those series. I think, although I'd like to go Bruins, the Rangers look really good this season. I'm gonna go Rangers making it to the finals against the Colorado Avalanche. And I'll have the Colorado Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup. So that would be my pick as of
Yeah.
right now. I don't know if that's going to change come next week, but to say that this playoffs has been anything but a success and anything but exciting is, I mean, dude, it's an understatement to say exciting, like to say the least.
Yeah, it's been great and it's just been competitive hockey. Like again, there's always going to be a lopsided first round matchup, which we're going to forget about those ones. These playoffs have been very competitive, and you've seen just a lot of guys going at it, giving their hearts. So, great way to wrap off the episode. And I think we'll be able to talk Final Four on Tuesday or Wednesday. So, I think that's going to be exciting. I know we're going to try and bring some guests on the podcast who are playing minor or junior hockey who would be having tryouts in April/early May. So this will be exciting because some of the guys that we look to interview are going to be freshly signed with their new teams or organizations, and that way they have some cool things to share about their hockey journeys. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're in a good spot right now, headed to the long weekend. Definitely hyped to see a Saturday. And obviously, we got a big party on Saturday to go to. Looking forward to that. Definitely hyped. And yeah, dude, looking forward to tonight's game. 10 o'clock start. I don't know what time it is now. 10:03. So we
Yeah,
better get moving here. We got 4 minutes till puck
get
drop.
the anthem going here.
Let's go. But anyways, that's going to do it for us today. Today is May 16th, 2024. We are the Invest in Hockey podcast. Eric wore his beautiful watch and his touch grass shirt as a
Yeah.
testament to the beauty of what's been an NHL playoffs, a successful NHL playoffs so far.
Oh yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening. We look forward to speaking to you next week. And dude, I'll see you this weekend. Should be a fun one.
Oh yeah. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, dude.